Hey guys, we got a special treat for you today. Chris and I have a special guest, Drew, and he works for Alliance, and we're going to let him tell you what we're doing here today in his factory.
Beyond wasting his time?
Hi, my name is Drew. I am the lamination plant manager here at Alliance, and we are going to take a tour through the plant and show you guys exactly the reason why we're the best around and we got the best crew ever.
We're biased and we agree.
Yes. All right, stay tuned. It's going to be awesome.
Every company, when they're starting out, lamination is an afterthought. They don't get what they need, the space they need, or how to, like, the things that they need, like the tools to do the job properly, until they're 4, 5, 6 years into the process. Well, Ryan and Coley wanted to do it right from the get-go. That's the reason why this department, this is lamination, where we apply the interior Azdel decor panel, but also your exterior fiberglass and Azdel. This is our CNC Bender. We used to purchase all of our pre-bends, like for the sidewalls, the upper front wall and mid front wall of the unit, from outside companies. We decided to bring it in-house after a certain level because one, we can control the tolerances a lot more, make sure that everything is bent specifically to the print. We decided to go with this machine because we found that it's one of the best on the market, and it has a lot more control for the operator, so we can dial things in exactly the way they need to be. We've got large plots that we use that are based off of the engineer drawing, so that way they're full scale plots. That way we can actually line up each profile as it bends, so to check and just make sure that it is being done 100% accurately.
That's cool.
So I see all the material that's prepped, ready to go for Monday morning's production, and then the finished product loaded up on the cart.
And when they're doing it, they're using templates, right, so to make the measurements quicker?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the operator up here, she's got it dialed in real well. She's able to make adjustments on the fly just in case of the different, thickness of material and stuff. And those are the jigs that she uses.
Yeah, avenue upper, avenue front, plant 1, plant 2. That's really cool.
Yeah. The cool thing is that the engineers try to keep things standard wherever possible between products, like the front sidewall profiles. But having a standard like that, being consistent, consistency breeds quality. So that's what that's all about.
What's this little booger?
This is a drum peel. So every unit that we do, every unit that goes down through our process, we actually put a foam sample on the wall. And after that's done, it goes through routing. After it's laminated, we'll take the sample, cut it down to a 5x17 section, and then bring it up here, and we actually peel it. And then we take that sample, and it helps ensure that our bonding process is right where it needs to be, and everything's pulling to what the specifications are from the suppliers that we get our material from.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's
QC in your QC.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like double checking everything.
Checks and balances.
Yep.
So this is where our processes begin as far as our line processes. You can see all the filler wood and stuff that's in this area. The filler wood goes into certain tubes that are called out on the engineer drawing, and that is for better securement when it gets over to the assembly lines. That way, anything that's going to have a significant amount of weight to it, we just put a pine wood in there just for extra security, make sure everybody's safe. So these are the chop saws that we have for our aluminum saw team. These saws are actually specifically to limit the amount of steps that each team member uses. That way it helps keep them healthier and in a little bit better spirits all day long, but they're also helps ensure that the measurements stay accurate that they pull off of directly off the engineer drawing.
takes a little bit of the human factor out of it. The tape measure is going to be at the same point on both ends all day.
Exactly. Exactly. Repetition, man. Like I said, the consistency factor, and everything that we do, we try to, if it's going to be, you know, used in every department throughout the process, we do the same thing, the same time everywhere.
Yeah, it looks like it's a real comfortable height too, so you're not bending over or tucked up too much. It's like a proper standing desk height almost.
Exactly. That way that, well, we value our team members, man. They're family. Want to make sure that they're nice and healthy, and when they go home, they can still enjoy their lives with their families. Yeah, so those are the aluminum tubes that you can see are, after they're cut off the aluminum saw, our wood stuffing team fill the tubes based off the engineer drawing. These are the fixtures that we use. We weld all of our parts in fixtures that are built off the engineer blueprint, and then we put tabs here. That way that the aluminum tubes stay exactly where they belong. Some of them, as you see with this one, actually, it gets bent out just from moving in and out. Yeah. This tab will actually be cut off and then replaced before they weld this part. That way that we can make sure it stays nice and tight.
And then every one of these is potentially a different wall panel for a different model.
Exactly, and we've got the models and stuff written on the front.
370, 372, 385.
Yep. And like I said, we do the same thing, no matter, same process, no matter what the part is. The sidewall fixtures obviously are the size of the sidewalls, but then all the way down to the risers that are in the pass-throughs. Everything is welded and built out of a fixture that keeps everything nice and tight and locked in. So we weld up all of the small parts, like the slide-out end walls, the ceilings, the risers, and one of our added avenue products, the 31, the steps leading up into the back bunks are welded out of aluminum, and they're nice and sturdy to keep. Oh. Like I said,
that's cool. I didn't realize they had aluminum stairs.
Yeah, we think about the team's safety as they're building the product and doing production, but the engineers and Ab and Jeremiah and Ryan and Coley, they think about the safety and for the end consumer, and it's important, man. I think that's what makes this place so great.
Yeah, you might be able to save $2 by doing it with a different type of wood, and
but you can't
it's good quality.
Exactly right. So this is our Doorside sidewall weld table. We designed these tables specifically, and this department rather, specifically to do a door side, off door side. And the reason being is because the 0 points are in the back and bottom of the floor, or of the part. So you'll notice that the flat plates, they're coming out the side of the table over there, and then also in the rear plate coming out the back. That is, the table's perfectly square, so when they drop their fixture down, they'll butt the fixture up against each stop, and then they'll check the squareness of all the openings, and once that's locked in and square, they'll clamp the fixture down. And actually you can see the off-door side over there has actually got the clamps on it. That's just to keep everything locked in place, so that way while they're welding it, the part that comes out of the fixture is welded perfectly square as well.
That's cool. So you're literally making, simultaneously, they're making both sides of the trailer.
Exactly. As
it goes through, and then nobody has to think, is this the left side or the right side or the door side or the off-door side? I build off-door, you build door, and we all move through it.
Exactly. They become professionals on what they build and specialists, and that's how everybody has a specific job. They know what they're doing, and then there again comes the consistency of the build.
It's like that funny commercial, left Twix, right Twix, each factory.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is. You guys are left Twix, right Twix.
So then this next department is our foam department. This is where we put all of our EPS styrofoam in the sidewall, which has kind of a dual purpose. It insulates the wall or part, whatever they're building, because we laminate slide-out ceilings, end walls, rear walls, just pretty much everything in some of our coaches. So it acts as the insulation, but then again, it also acts as a bonding agent, because our PUR, or reactive hot melt, bonds best to the styrofoam. So it's a very crucial and very important part of the process. We also apply our EGS backers in this spot. They're galvanized steel. They act as the studs in your unit. They're thin, but they're strong. It helps keep everything lighter, but still have the tensile strength to hold up like cabinetry and stuff like that.
That makes sense, especially since basically all you're looking at is a vertical load. It's not, nothing's pulling away.
Exactly.
It's just up, down.
So these are our aluminum frames of our slide out end walls. Like I said, we do the same thing every time. They're foam tables that they use for the slide out end walls. They have lips on one edge and the bottom. Now each table, so this table will do the right hand end walls, and I'm sorry, left hand end walls, and then the table right next to it does the right hand end walls. So just like the door side, off door side concept, the end walls have a square corner, which is the high side and the bottom. So they butt it up against the angle and the lip of the table, and then they make sure that everything's nice and square. So every either Friday night or Monday morning, they'll come through and they'll replace the tabletops, and just to make sure that they got a nice clean surface to begin with.
So that's the Azdel then that they're using as the tabletop, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So they use Azdel. They use whatever scrap panels or just grab a panel. So,
yeah.
But typically here, I mean, we've got Azdel inside and out. So they grab that and they'll lay it down, and then they'll go to town and they put their quick measurements on there. Just because, like I said, the engineers build there's a standard across the board. So a lot of measurements they just translate between models.
It's like Henry Ford times a billion, you know, where he started versus
Exactly.
whole different type of assembly line philosophy, but same type of process as everybody has a step.
Yep. Now, you might have felt the temperature difference.
Oh yeah.
Going through. So this is something that is, and I mean, I'll brag about it every freaking day for the rest of my life. So I've been a part of like different companies. I've been doing lamination for 18 years, well, a little more now. But every company, when they're starting out, lamination is an afterthought. They don't get what they need, the space they need, or how to, like, the things that they need, like the tools to do the job properly, until they're 4, 5, 6 years into the process. Well, Ryan and Coley wanted to do it right from the get-go. That's the reason why this department, this is lamination, where we apply the interior Azdel decor panel, but also your exterior fiberglass and Azdel. But the glue is it's so crucial to have this area climate controlled. It's got to have the right kind of temperature, relative humidity. Everything's got to be just perfect to be able to ensure that we're putting out the best quality possible. So the reason why they've got a temperature drop is because Ryan and Coley decided to do it right the first time. We should put in 2 AC units to help manage this area. It's such a big area. So on opposite sides of the room, we've got 2 ACs. We've also got a large thermocycler heater for the wintertime. And then there is a set of misters in the ceiling that is controlled by a centrally located thermostat. So as soon as the humidity drops below the 40% mark, it automatically kicks on, and then it pumps that humidity back into the atmosphere. So it's very, very, very controlled here. Every single morning we do a process audit. So we check the gram weights of our glue for each panel for whatever the supplier specifications are. We check the thickness of the material. We'll check the moisture content in certain material if we're using wood products. We go through and we are very thorough about what we do before we get started. And then we check it again halfway through the day to make sure that we're holding those parameters and that we're consistent with them.
It's got to be hell to chase that in the winter, because I know from living in Alaska, cold winter usually means super low humidity, so you're actually having to pump in a lot of humidity and heat, which can be a real challenge to not dry out the air even more.
Exactly, and that's what we went with, the best of the best mister system. And like I said, it's the thermocycler is strategically located, and the size of it was, thought through. And we've this past winter, I mean, we had absolutely no problems. The room stayed up to temperature and humidity.
Yeah.
We were never down one time. I had other companies that I've been at in the wintertime when we're first going, it's 30 degrees outside. Well, if it drops below 65 degrees, you can't run.
Oh,
So
wow.
you're done, because if you do run a part when it's that cold, you're opening yourself up for delams, and nobody wants that.
Nope, that's definitely a bad thing in the RV industry.
So this is the fiberglass product that you will see on the outside of the unit. It is a rolled product, that way that it comes out on our air hockey table. It's easy for the guys to maneuver. It's got an A side and a B side. The A side, which is what we are looking at right now, is what you would actually see on the exterior of your unit. And then the B side is what we bond our Azdel substrate to. Now, we check the dyne levels of our FRPs, and dyne level is the amount of surface energy that it's got, and that with the higher the surface energy, the better adhesion you get, the lower, obviously, the worse. And we just make sure that we're right where we want to be. We're typically at a 40 dyne level, which is just top notch. So they'll, our receiver will load this on our double decoiler, and then the team will pull it out on the table. And this table is actually an air hockey table. So as they're pulling it out, they'll turn the air on, and it will lift the fiberglass, and it will allow the fiberglass to glide over top of the table to help reduce the risk of scratches.
Very thoughtful. Holy crap.
Yeah, well, we look at it, so nobody would buy a brand new vehicle or a brand new home that had to have some sort of body work or drywall work or something like that done to it. So we do everything we can to try to ensure that nobody will have to buy their brand new home, that, whether it be an RV or not, and have to do some sort of repairs or have, be less than perfect. So they'll pull the glass out in this area, then they'll blow it off after the dyne levels are checked. Blow the glass off just in case there's any kind of dust or contaminants on it. They'll blow the sidewall off to make sure that there's no loose foam or anything like that. And then they will they'll run the Azdel through the roll coater here. It'll coat either this one side or both sides, depending on what area of the process we're in. As you can see, it gets a little messy in there. But the board is at 18 grams of glue per square foot. The roll coater is zeroed out every single morning before they get going. That way that we know that we've got the perfect gap setting on each side, so the board is coating evenly. Then they'll pull it out of the machine, they'll lay it on the glass, and then once they are done doing that, they'll lay the wall on it, and then they'll repeat the process for the interior decor board, and then they'll put it through a pinch roller. Now the pinch roller is what marries everything together. So the pinch roller, we have a gap setting that is a little less than the total thickness of the wall, just enough to where it bonds everything, but it doesn't have telegraphing in the aluminum tubes. It's probably the most crucial part, along with the roll coater, of this area, because if this is off, then, like I said, it'll open us up for delam. So we've got every Tuesday and Thursday, it's called Turtle Wax Tuesday, Turtle Wax Thursday. We wax the table, but they also clean the grate. They'll clean the rolls. That way there's no glue or there's no buildup on the pinch rollers. That way that it doesn't cause dents, and you have a nice even downward compression. When it comes out of the pinch roller, typically when they're running, there's a cure table here that, like these scissor lifts, lift the cure table up nice and even. So that way when the wall is coming out of the pinch roller, there's no flexing, because the glue's still tacky, right? So it absolutely is crucial that it stays nice and flat, no flexing, no interfering with the bonding process at all. So they'll come out nice and even. They'll stack on top of each other. That way that after they've got the cure table loaded up, when it goes to its curing station, they're nice and even, nice and flat, and then it's just, they'll sit there overnight. We try to make sure that everything has at least 18 hours to cure. So what the laminators start with first thing in the morning, the next department, our routing department, they'll actually start with that same part in the morning, so that way that it's always got the longest amount of time possible before they touch it.
Gotcha. There's a whole lot of hurry up and wait in some of this stuff, huh?
Yeah.
You can't nothing you can do to rush it.
Nope, but if you want a perfect part, you got to take the time to do it.
Yep.
So we, not perfect always, but we sure try to be. But it also helps that we got the best team in the freaking industry, in my opinion, in this place, and I love them to death.
Oh, thank you.
So we have got the curtains on both sides to help keep lamination quarantine now on.
Yeah, now it warmed up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like it jumped like 10 degrees. So the curtains, I mean, they do their job. The wall that that's sitting on that cure table is one that had defects all over it that our team actually caught in the routing department. Luckily, they did catch it because everybody's going to get defects. It happens. It happens in every industry all across the board. But we try to take our time to make sure that we're inspecting the parts and catching them and doing it right. So we are actually going to take this part and we're going to use it as a sample to just run some repair trials, overlay samples, also send it out for testing at a couple different engineering places to make sure that our bond is right where we want it to be at. I've actually got a wall sitting outside now, I'm thinking about it, that's been sitting out there since September of last year. And it's just to see exactly how much moisture can get to it and if it ensures that we don't have D-lands inside and out. And it's been sitting out there since September and not one yet. And it's completely exposed the elements, which there's no roof on it, there's no floor, there's no windows. So every single area that water could possibly get in, it could on that part, and it has been since September. And there's not one issue with that wall at all.
From what I can see structurally, there's very little wood other than what you intentionally inset into the tubing. Because, I mean, you've got foam, aluminum, and then the Azdel, and of course all the technology behind the different layers. But
exactly. The only wood that we put in the unit is there for the securement for the assembly lines.
That's cool that you guys are able to repurpose it. To me, that's neat because you're like, okay, well, this didn't go the way it should have. Let's, test it and use it for everything else. So now you can get more information to continue your process as you move along.
We got to try to be better every step of the way, and that's what it's all about. So there's no, I mean, we spent the money to build it, so we were going to find a way to use it for something.
Yeah. That's how good companies excel and make the use of their product.
We got our sidewall routing station. It's exactly the same way as every other part of our process. We do door side and off door side. That way everybody is specialist, everybody is focused on what they're doing. Everybody has an engineer drawing. That way that they can make sure that everything's being done to the print. We check the squareness of all of our openings in every single station on every single part before it gets loaded on a cart.
It's obviously, this is an interior wall of a avenue. Am I right by looking at it? Or is this
is a paradigm.
It's a paradigm?
Yep. So this
one...
And
a seam tape would just normally go over that?
Exactly. So after they get done routing the wall completely, they will take their blowers or their air wands and they will blow all of this debris and shavings off the wall. And then they'll actually go through and they'll blow in between like each panel where the seam's at to make sure that all the debris is out from there. And then they take a clean rag every time. They use a brand new rag on every single wall, and they use a isopropyl alcohol, and it kind of preps the surface for the seam tape to be applied to. And they start at the nose, then they'll go all the way down to the back, then they'll come around and with their seam tape and they'll start at the nose. That way it gives the alcohol time to dry and flash off. And then they'll apply the seam tape all the way down the wall.
Very
and then
cool.
they use a weighted roller to put even pressure all the way down the seam to make sure it sticks. So that's the...
that's the back of it. That's where that glue goes on, and then they'll route this around that edge as well.
Yep, and each unit calls for a certain overhang in the back, top, and front. So we've got to make sure we have our engineer drawing and we've got specific donuts and jigs and stuff that we use to put the overhangs right as often as possible.
Yeah, and now I see, after understanding how this is all made, I can see why people say that just generally speaking, Azdel does not delam like you do on some other types of wall.
Exactly, and the really cool thing about Azdel, and I don't know if very many people think about this, but Azdel is made out of fiberglass and polypropylene. So Luan is wood.
Yep.
Right, so the aluminum moves at a different temperature because it all, it moves back and forth, expands, contracts and stuff. But the wood, such as Luan, it moves at one temperature, aluminum at a different, fiberglass at a different temperature. So they're constantly in battle with each other, constantly pulling apart, constantly trying to, you know, pull away. The Azdel is made out of the same material as what the fiberglass, or similar material, and it moves in unison. So they're married, and once they're married, as long as it's done properly, those two will move at the same temperature, and they'll actually, it kind of ebbs and flows together, which is crucial because, I mean, nobody wants a D-lam. Like I said before, nobody wants one, and this is the best way to make sure it doesn't happen. And luckily, knock on wood, since we've been running, we have not had one D-lam.
That's a testimony to your crew.
Amen
They're
to that.
doing a great job.
I'm telling you, man, the best of the best. Yeah, so once the sidewall is completed, or any part for that matter, whether it be end walls, bunks, or whatever, they will be loaded on their finished goods cart. This one just happens to be a sidewall cart. It's loaded and then strapped down, made sure that it's labeled correctly. That way when it goes to the assembly line, everybody knows exactly what it is, what position it goes online, because everybody's got the same schedule. Once it's done here, it actually goes to an additional staging area for further cure time. And so they'll sit for another day upright. Then it'll get shipped over to the assembly line, and then they'll take the parts and they'll do their thing with it and put it all together.
Really puts in scale how big these things are when you're standing next to a sidewall. You're like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's like, man,
and then you haven't even talked about a frame or suspension and everything else that's going to make it that much bigger.
Exactly.
This is massive.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got a crucial part. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's in this, you know, from the CNC Bender all the way through, you know, routing, and then all the way over to the assembly line. Like, we all got to be talking the same language. We got to be looking at the same kind of prints, and we've all got to have the same goal in mind. And it's so hard to find a collective group of people that care about what they do. Yeah. And I'm telling you, man, some of the best people I've ever worked with are at this company, whether it be engineering, lamination, you know, the production lines, purchasing. It's just, everybody cares, man. It's pretty special.
What's this? Why the two different materials?
So we put accent panels on certain slide outs, like the bedroom slide, and in this wall, this is an avenue. Ab decided to put the accent panel in the kitchen slide as well as the bedroom slide. It helps kind of break everything up, keeps things, you know, kind of has a separation, but then it also ties everything together.
Gotcha. So this would be the interior wall of it, so that would basically be kind of like your headboard in essence of a bedroom slide.
Exactly right.
Okay, exactly. And then whatever padding would go on top of that.
Yeah, so this is the slide out back wall.
Yeah.
And your bed sits, you know, in and out. But I can tell you, the Avenue product, I absolutely love the way that the interior of that thing looks. I mean, they did such a good job.
The colors are great. I mean, even though they're very neutral tones, they're contrasting just enough that they really pop. And we did a couple tours of them at the Tampa show, and we're really impressed with it.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
They're bright. You know, you walk in, you're just in a good mood. I mean, I feel that way about all of our products, but I really like the light colors, and I really like what App did with that.
Yeah. But it's nice to have the variety.
Exactly right.
All right, guys, what do you think? Don't they do a fantastic job here?
Hopefully you understand the importance of Azdel and why attention to detail and quality control makes all the difference on a quality coach.
And a special thank you to Drew and Alliance and the family here, because they were warm, welcoming, all smiles, and so much energy on a Friday. They love their job, and it's amazing vibe here. Yeah, I can't say thank you enough. They actually let us come through the plant twice, once in production and once post-production, so that we could give you the best experience, both visually with the work being done and audio, so you could understand what is being done. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this, and as always, enjoy every moment. We'll see you guys next time.